Welcome to Ask GC Anything. It's that time of the week when we go through all your questions all about cycling. And in this week, what do we have in store?
This week we have how to stay motivated whilst commuting, how to maintain your bike on a long multi-stage event, and which bike should you buy, aero versus climbing.
So plenty up for discussion there. But if you did want to get your question answered on next week's Ask GC Anything, then use the hashtag TalkBack and make sure you put it in your comment in the comments below.
And if you want to be in with a chance of winning a 3-month subscription to Zwift, then use the hashtag GCN training and ask us your questions that way.
Right, first question from Onipop. How come my power during an FTP test is much lower indoors than it is when I do it outdoors? I recently did an FTP test indoors and tested 224 watts. 2 weeks later, I did the same, but outside, and I got 243 watts. What could be the cause of this difference? Is it perhaps the fresh oxygen I get outside?
Well, there could be a number of reasons for this, but first off, it's potentially the thermoregulation. So up to 75% of your body's energy goes towards controlling your internal temperature. And unless you've got a really good fan indoors and really good airflow, the chances is you're going to be, well, kind of cooking yourself slowly, really. So that's one place to look. The next one is that actually whilst you're outdoors, you're able to lever off the bike a little bit, and also momentum comes into play. So that will also potentially give you more power. If I was you, to be really honest, I would accept that the numbers are going to be slightly different. But
yeah, so basically I would kind of do your exercise or your FTP test indoors, and we've actually done a video on that, that Si's doing here.
Because what we want from an FTP test is for it to be easily repeatable. 1 hour tests are absolutely brutal, and because of that they're also wide open to error, whereas shorter tests mean that you are more likely to be able to do them more regularly, and they're also going to give you a much more accurate gauge so you can compare them with one another to actually see your performance.
How do I corner blindly? For example, on switchbacks when I can't see because of rocks and trees, etc. Every time I corner I always get scared and slow down. Chris, you're more than capable of answering this question.
Yep, you know what? One of my absolute favourite aspects of being a bike rider was racing down hills and descents that I'd never been down before and trying to nail the corners absolutely perfectly every time. And generally speaking, that was doable, but you need to call up a little bit of experience there. So the first thing to do would be to always stay within what you know is your limit, because as soon as you start approaching your limits, the fun goes out of it pretty quickly if things go wrong.
Yeah, I've definitely pushed the limits on a few of my races, but yeah.
First time I ever rode with Hanky fell off, actually. But anyway.
Plenty of videos out there.
Yeah, there are. So always ride at around like 90 to 95% and always kind of pay attention to what your bike's telling you. So like when you put inputs into the bike, how it moves underneath you and things like that, you really want to be in tune with the feedback that you're getting through, because that's how you're going to learn what you're doing and how to be in control. You also want to make sure you get all your braking done before the corner, and you definitely do not want to be hanging off the side of a bike. When I was a kid, I remember racing in the wet one time and I was sticking my knee out like you see on the MotoGP.
Doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work like that. And one of the older riders came up and said, look, you're just taking the centre of gravity away from your tyres. So if you kind of think of your tyres as what they are, your only contact point, and you want to keep your weight over the top of them really, because that will give them the most grip.
Do pay attention to the road. And do, even if you can't see the exit, keep looking for it and eventually it'll pop out.
Yeah, exactly. The road will give you little clues as well. So by scanning for the exit, by scanning the road surface, and actually by scanning the verge or the ditch, the curb, whatever you have there, you'll start to pick up on how tight a corner's likely to be or not. But you can also use traffic that's ahead of you. There's so many things that you can pick up on. You kind of build like an image of the road ahead of you, and it is absolutely possible to sort of half predict what's coming. Even when you're on a descent you've never seen before.
But go out and practice, because cornering is a really enjoyable part of cycling.
Oh, it's the best bit.
And yeah, you can gain a lot of speed from taking a corner fast. So do go out and enjoy it. We have got 3, not 1, but 3 videos on cornering. So corner like a pro, how to corner correctly. So please do check them out. And also, if you like that video, do give it a thumbs up.
Let's talk a little bit more about leaning your bike. Lean is the fundamental way in which you get a bike around a corner. Your centre of balance has to be further over to the inside than the contact point of your tyres with the road.
And the winner of this week's Ask GCN training question is Ranger MT.
Yeah, Ranger.
Well done to you, Ranger. 3 months free subscription coming your way.
That's cool, that.
And for this question, it was, what's the best way to train for crit races? If you only have half an hour, which isn't a lot of time, to spare, max efforts, sprints, or FTP threshold efforts? Thanks. Well, good question, because everyone wants to get as fit as possible in a really short amount of time. And it's a good one. I mean, there are some training sessions out there that,
some really good ones.
that can kind of really increase your sprint. I think it's more sprint you're looking at working on, because it's very, a crit is very much sprint out the corner.
Yeah, it's all about riding at a real high intensity and punching out the corner every couple of seconds, really.
So, so I would recommend, and we'll put it in the link, the FTP W burst that Cy Richardson actually did on Zwift. So do go and check that out and have a go with it. But make sure you get those kind of 6 to 8 really hard bursts, and that will really help you kind of get to the top end of where you want to go.
It's all about riding at a high sustainable power, which is what you'll be doing in a crit race, and then punching out above that as well. And it will be about how your body copes with recovering from those high bursts without actually easing up.
Yeah.
It'll be a good session. It's not going to feel great the first couple of times you do it, I'm sure, but you will see the benefits from doing it if you stick with it.
Yeah, and do good, good luck from both of us
Yeah.
in your upcoming crit races, and let us know how you get on.
Yeah,
if
definitely.
you want to chuck it in the comments below.
Next up, we have a question from
The Belgian Dude.
2 days ago. I tried going from 23 to 25mm tyres. The front wheel had no clearance problems at all, and at first sight, no problems on the back wheel either. Even though it was very close, the wheels span just fine. Today, however, when going out for a ride and hitting a bump, something similar, Belgian roads, we all know what they're like,
We do.
suddenly the back wheel started dragging on the brake bridge. I tried fixing it by just taking the wheel out and putting it back in, but it kept on going back and dragging against the frame. So, I'm guessing the minimal tyre clearance is just too little. Is there any way I can increase it by a few millimeters, or is there no other option than going back to the 23mm tyres I had on there before? Well, I quite like this question because, well, yeah, I do.
You jump straight into the answer, so crack on.
I know. Well, the best thing you can do is actually stick with your 23mm rear tyre. I'd keep the 25 on the front though.
Would you?
Yeah, well, because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like, you've got more grip on the front then at least. But there are certain little tricks you can do. I'm not sure I'd really recommend them.
No, you can actually put a bit of roll up a bit of cardboard and stick that in your dropouts.
We had a teammate win a race whilst doing that once years ago. He wanted to do exactly what you've done and go to 25 from 23.
But we wouldn't recommend it.
I just don't, it's just not a great route to go down. So I'd stick with the 23 on the back.
Yeah.
You'll at least have the benefit of having a 25 on the front and just see how that goes.
Next up, we got a question from Billy B. How do I stay motivated while commuting in the early mornings and late nights once the weather and dark mornings start closing in? When it's 5 a.m., it's raining and pitch black, the car is very tempting. I feel your pain here, Billy B.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be really tricky, isn't it? I'm not looking forward to doing that myself.
No, but it's what you were about to say, wasn't it? I'd really look at kind of the positives about commuting. What are those positives, Chris?
It's free for a start.
No cost in parking, no cost in fuel.
Your fitness gains.
I mean, you can get fit without even thinking about it. Who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah, but actually what I would do is just maintain your objectives. So why are you commuting in the first place by bike? Hold on to that even when the weather's bad and stick to it, because it can be all right to commute in the bad weather. You feel like you're getting one over on the world if you've been out in the hail and the rain or whatever else you may have.
And it feels insane. Like, you get all those endorphins. And
yeah, exactly.
You get into office and you're awake and you feel ready to work, and you actually probably get more work done in those early hours than when you walk in and you're kind of like drowsy and you've got bags under your eyes.
Yeah. Think of the benefits, think of the reasons why you're doing it, and just remind yourself of that. Next up, we have a question from Steve DS. Hi guys, I will be doing a 7-day multi-stage event in January, averaging around 157 kilometers a day with 3 days over 200.
Wow.
That's a big event, that. What kind of checks should I be doing on my bike after each ride?
Well, I'll start off with kind of working down and then up on your bike. So start off with your tyres. So make sure you've got your good tread, you haven't got any splits. Tyre pressure, make sure you haven't lost air on your ride.
Yep.
And then chain. So make sure your chain is well lubricated, because the last thing you want to do is ride on a chain that is dry and you're losing watts there, aren't you?
You also don't want your bike to get so filthy and dirty.
So do go and check out the GCN Tech channel, because that will give you a whole host of videos of how to maintain your bike and get it in tip-top working condition. So next question we have from Survival Production. Please can you talk about the aero vs lightweight bikes? It's such a hard choice. I feel you on this one, because it is a really tough choice. There's so many bikes out there, there's so many different kinds of bikes. Which one do you get? And I think we're right in saying we've got a few videos on that, don't we?
Yeah, we definitely have. Emma went to the Giro recently, so why don't you click, well, I don't know where you're going to click, but there'll be a link down in the description below for that one.
I wanted to ask you, why are all your riders on the giant TCR and not the Propel?
Here we have the team is basically built for climbs, so guys we're going to help on the climbs or before that. Nobody here is a real sprinter.
And then Si's got a video on the screen behind us right now, in fact. Aero versus lightweight versus endurance.
Now, so much work had gone into creating stiff but aerodynamic tube profiles that actually comfort had been sacrificed. Now, generation 2 of aero bikes, and pretty much across all manufacturers, have actually gone a long way to sorting that problem out.
So what would you go for then?
Well, where I live, it's not crazy hilly, and my rides are pretty quick. They're short and fast, so I would go with the aero bike.
And I personally would also go to the aero bike. I'm riding a Trek Madone and I am loving it. I've been on it for the last 3 days and it is a dream bike really for me.
Yeah.
So,
but if I lived somewhere hillier, I'd definitely choose the climbing bike.
Yeah.
If I lived in the Alps, the Dolomites, Altamira, for example.
But do go and check out those videos, because they really will give you a really good insight as to what bike to go for. They, the pros and cons to both different frames really.
I'm going to add one last thing in here.
Go on.
Choose the bike that you like the look of and you enjoy the ride of the most, because then you'll be more willing to ride it and you'll look forward to riding it more.
Next question from
Martin de Groot.
Thank you, Chris. I was going to need help with that anyway. I'm new to this whole awesomeness, but have just purchased my first Canyon road bike.
Good choice.
Any tips on a good build-up program for the next few weeks?
And in fact, you're not the only person to ask this question this week, as Matthias Close has also written in, I am new to the sport, so how should I start training? For example, how long should the rides be and how often should I do them?
Yeah, so I would aim to start building up from 6 to 8 hours in your cycling week. So this is kind of like 2-hour rides and then progressively, onwards from that really.
Yeah, well, the point is you don't have to aim for a 2-hour ride. You could break it up into lots of little ones. You just kind of want to build on that contact time with your bike. You want to get comfortable on your bike. And most cycling events, if you look at a calendar of any kind, they range from around the 50 to 100 kilometer mark. So that's going to take you around 2 to 5 hours. So it's an endurance sport. It's a sport that's well rewarded by good investment of time. So the more you do on your bike, the better. So in those early rides, you really want to just get used to riding, how it feels.
So really just get progressive, no?
Yeah, you want to understand, the sensations you're feeling on your bike. And then when you've done a couple of weeks like that and you're feeling adventurous, you can try some of our training videos.
Well, I was just going to say, you've just spent a couple of weeks doing your training videos, and I actually tried to follow a few of them, which were actually really good.
Oh, thanks.
So yeah, go and check those videos out, and they'll give you kind of each week a training program.
They're really good sessions to aim for, actually.
Yeah.
I've referred to testing a few times throughout the series, and whilst you may have only been training to improve your on-the-bike fitness, why not go out and test and see how much you have really progressed? Yeah, now the preparation for this kind of begins 2 days before by taking your final rest day. Now that kind of takes care of itself, provided you don't spend your entire rest day eating cake.
Then we have Ethan Ufelder. What is the best way to transition from an enduro fitness into a more road cycling fitness level? So I would say longer efforts, higher sustained intensity. Basically, more endurance work.
Yeah. I was going to say, just concentrate on that endurance work and
enduro
progressively get better.
Yeah, enduro is good for your fitness, and there'll be lots of short, sharp accelerations. and you're going to be missing out on those longer, the 5, 10, 12, 20-minute efforts.
Yep.
So get stuck into a few of those, I would.
And the next question from Papa Puil.
Papa Boya.
Papa Puil. I'm sorry, I murdered that one. But his question is, what is worn most during summertime in the Peloton? Bibs or shorts? Well, that's a very easy question.
Yeah, bibs.
Bibs.
Have you ever seen a pro wearing shorts and not bibs?
I don't think I've ever worn a pair of shorts. Next question from Sam Wilton. Hi GCN, I want to do road cycling and cyclocross, but with only one bike. Should I get a road bike and have a set of cross wheels to switch them to doing cross, or get a cross bike and put road wheels on it when I'm doing road riding? I ride on the road more, and I'm thinking of getting a road frame so I can go as fast as possible on the road, but I'm not sure. Thanks. Quick question.
Cross bike.
Cross bike.
You won't have tyre clearance on the road bike to put cross tyres in there, so
I wouldn't
easy.
take a road bike out on the mud anyway, so cross bike's probably your way forward.
It is going to be a compromise. Geometry won't be quite the same, but definitely go for the cross bike.
There you have it.
Cool. Next up, Bugboy152000 just purchased a Canyon Aero. What can I expect going aero from an endurance bike?
Fast ride.
More aggressive handling, and
And
it should
feel much racier.
Yeah, it'll feel good. It'll feel quick, and it'll be a little bit sharper.
Next question from Larry Harrington. Hello, and thanks for the great content. Well, we are glad we are here to give it to you.
That you mean Sign, Dan and Emma?
Oh, probably.
Cool.
I'm lost in sea of training plan options and no event to prep for. What training objective should I use when I don't have event details for which to plan?
Set a goal that you would like to achieve. Maybe a long ride is a good place to start. Set it 6 to 8 weeks in advance so you can really build towards it as well. It doesn't have to be an organised thing. It can just be your own personal challenge. Sometimes they're the most fun ones to conquer. Next up, we got a question from Guillermo. I'm having a little tricep pain during my rides, and especially on the long ones. Is there any way to prevent this, or will my body get used to it? I get a new bike and I passed from a 54 to a 56. Maybe that's the problem. I've already got a short stem. Thanks in advance. You guys rock.
Well, Chris, you've got some pretty big triceps there. What do you do to kind of sort that problem out?
Well, personally, I do absolutely nothing apart from sprint. But there are a few things you could try, and actually, I would almost say that having a longer stem is more likely to take the pressure off your triceps, because if you're trying to hold it in like a crunched position there, as opposed to a slightly more neutral position there, it's going to create fatigue.
But you can also do some kind of specific exercises to strengthen your triceps. For example,
press ups
or tricep dips.
Yeah, get out on your little stool.
But you don't want biceps as big as his. Well, actually, mine is slightly bigger.
But you will over time also get used to it. But I would really look at your position first, because you shouldn't really have any localized pain whilst on the bike.
Yeah, exactly. You want to feel as comfortable as possible. And we hope that kind of some exercises and the changes that Chris has mentioned will help you kind of feel more comfortable on the bike.
Yep, let us know how you get on.
We've come to the conclusion of this week's
Not already.
Ask GC Anything. I know, Chris. But if you would like to be in with a chance of getting your question featured on next week's, then remember to use the hashtag TalkBack.
Or GCN training to be in with a chance of winning 3 months free subscription.
3?
With Zwift. Yeah, 3. Free.
Get on that. And if you did like this video, then do give us a thumbs up.
And click on the subscribe button.
Yeah, do. There's a little bell in the top of your screen, and if you click that, you'll get a notification every time we put up a new video, so then you won't miss a thing.
And when you've done all of that, click on the shop over there.
I know. I mean, you can get all these lovely t-shirts. I mean, I might get out to the shop now.
You could do with a new t-shirt.
Yeah, true.
This one smells a bit.
Thanks for watching.